Day 139, the Awan Brotherhood. This episode's going to be dedicated to Sarah Carter. That's her address here, at Sarah Carter, DC. She's with a news outlet called Circa that is started up, and it has a very promising start with Sarah's reporting. They come from the Washington Times, I believe. The guy who started it, he had about a 20-year period at the Washington Times. For Sarah's benefit, what we do is we look at Hillary Clinton giving very dangerous weapons like Stinger missiles and sarin gas to Muslim Brotherhood to do topples in Libya and Syria. We also look at Hillary giving cyber weapons, cyber tools to groups like the Awan brothers and the Gulen movement here in the United States. We also look at people who've enabled Hillary with wiretaps over the last 20 years, and Andrew McCabe here, the number 2 at the FBI. And we look at how these intelligence leaks end up in tragedies, like the Navy SEAL's wife. If you don't, quick review, if you don't know, aren't familiar with the Awan brothers, there's 3 of them, Abid, Imran, and Jamal. What you need to, the first red flag is they're very highly paid staffers. They're paid 2.5 times the median salary of all these congressional staffers for all these Democratic congressmen here. And sometimes even the youngest one was 3 times. There's a 4th Awan brother that I won't cover here, but the wife also of one of the Awan brothers is 2.5 times staff pricing. The other thing to know is they're very seldom seen in these 31 different congressional staff meetings. They're very rarely seen, which is another odd thing for people making 3 times as much as everybody else. They also own these car dealerships. One of them that certainly was in a lot of financial trouble and has all the signatures of a money launderer. So that's who the Awan brothers are. Strange thing happened here at the end of January. These 31 Democrats, there was 20 burglaries in these offices of these 31 different Democrats that they worked for. The person who installed them originally in 2004 was this Congressman Greg Meeks here, and he's been cited many times by congressional overview groups as the most corrupt member of Congress. So there's obviously something amiss here. Representative Jackie Spear and Debbie Wasserman Schultz also asked for top secret clearance for these 4 Awan brothers and Awan wife, which is odd for Pakistani nationals because they're not U.S. citizens. So another red flag. The other red flag is that the representatives they work for are all on these very top secret committees, the Select Intelligence Committee at the House, the Homeland Security, and Foreign Affairs. And, of course, Andre Carson is sponsored by the Muslim Brotherhood and Muslim Brotherhood groups. And the Awans have a server that, just like Hillary had a server and Huma had a server, an external server, which is, again, against all protocols of the secured server areas of these organizations. They also seem to be able to get visas. They go to the White House a lot and get visas. They seem to have special access to the White House. So these are things that we've talked about in the past. But the real smoking gun came in January when the Awan boys' stepmother called the police and said they haven't been imprisoning me for the last 3 or 4 months. And they have these capabilities of hacking. They have hacking capabilities of hacking my phone. They come back and tell me what I said on the phone, and they tell me not to talk to anyone. The Awan brothers fled the United States. And after this happened, after the congressional burglaries, and the stepmother also said this house was ransacked as well. They took all their father, who was living there, took his laptop and vamoosed to Pakistan. This is the web page of one of the Awan brothers. Lots of ties to terrorism, lots of ties to their father's also in charge of the policing in a key area in Pakistan. So a lot of links to the drug business that these rebels run, this drug line that they run from Pakistan to Turkey. There's also these same Awans have been connected to a Hezbollah figure. There's also connections to the Russian ambassador. Looks like there is both ties to the Muslim Brotherhood and to the Gulen terrorist movement for the 2 different movements. They also are bringing in people into a safe house, and this is the safe house here in Lorton, Virginia, bringing in experts. This is a wireless hacking expert here from Pakistan. As I mentioned before, Sarah Carter reported that, yes, there was in June a server warrant, and then there was this is the June meeting with Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch, and there was also an October wiretap meeting. This is the story she reported on that I've been reporting on for a while, which is, here's the network traffic for that server, that Trump server. This is the article that came out a week before the election. And what I have said in the past is this unusual activity between Alpha Bank and this Trump Tower and the Spectrum Health has the makings of a hacking activity. And I've also gone as far to say that this Umbrage tool that specializes, the CIA just released with WikiLeaks Vault 7, has this ability to leave Russian footprints. It can make the hacker look like the Russians did it, even though the Russians weren't anywhere involved. But the key here is that through a KKNR partner, Senden Marketing, they had root access to this server in server rack in Pennsylvania, which could have provided opportunity for the Awan brothers. A little bit about the drug trade that Gulen runs. Here's Feta Gulen right here. Graham Fuller was the CIA agent that worked with Feta Gulen to establish the Pakistan to Turkey drug trade. He has now $40 billion. He's accumulated $40 billion in Malaysia. Right now, we talked about other key people in the United States that helped bring Gulen to the United States. And there's cases against Gulen right now, just so happens, in Preet Bharara's district, Southern District of New York. So there's also cases against Erdogan. Erdogan has this drug runner. His name is Reza Zarrab. He's the bagman for this Pakistan to Turkey drug run. He was arrested last April, and he has a pending case also with Preet Bharara. So the surprise firing of Preet Bharara, we'll see if Reza, they want to get him back to Turkey because if he talks, he will expose the whole drug trade and this $40 billion in Malaysia. So that'll be interesting to watch over the next couple of days. Here's Preet Bharara. We've talked about how he has a kind of a signature of taking out low-level, sort of like, I look at Reza as sort of a pizza delivery guy. That's the level of expertise, the folks that Preet Bharara arrests. He never goes after the Gulens or anything like that. And here's another classic case where Preet kind of looks the other way. We talked about him looking at his picture in Time magazine all the time rather than looking at this situation with Huma's server, the 650,000 emails, where we had the chief of detectives, Robert Boyce, of the New York Police Department, say these 650,000 emails contain child exploitation, sex crimes, perjury, obstruction of justice, and money laundering, and pay to play. So we also looked at the history of Pakistan, and we looked at the connections between Hillary Clinton with the Mina airport and this man right here, Amjad Awan. Amjad Awan was the key bagman for the original Pakistani route that Zbigniew Brzezinski set up, and then Hillary got involved with the Mina airport. This man also set up the Iran-Contra money laundering system, also named Awan by chance. So what we've recommended is that these 650,000 emails from Huma's server and Hillary's server be combined with the Awan server to see what kind of connections, what kind of classified information was moving from the Awan server to Huma's server. Then it was being moved to Hillary's server as a staging server to sell to different countries perhaps, but it looks like Huma's server is a treasure trove. We've recommended also that at least release the metadata, which wouldn't reveal any state secrets, and that can be done immediately. We've also talked about Andrew McCabe's conflict of interest here, receiving $675,000 from Terry McAuliffe, who's the best friend of Bill Clinton, and also how he's walled off and segmented the investigation to knock down the Hillary Clinton Foundation investigation, the Huma server investigation, and now the Awan brothers investigation. He has not sent FBI to investigate the Awan brothers. It's being run by the Capitol Police. So that's this morning's update for Sarah Carter, D.C.